Hello, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Shawn Lonkert, your host of the Mystic Paranormal podcast on the Midnight Highway. Today, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to share two stories, not my own, but from people that I know. And the reason why I want to share these stories is because they're pretty significant, to be honest. I mean, if I experienced what I'm about to tell you firsthand, I don't know how I would react. Um, it's very, very scary. So I'm going to warn you now that what I'm about to tell you is really spooky. So if you're not into that really spooky stuff, you might want to tune out. Definitely don't have your kids around because we don't want them having nightmares or anything like that. So I'm just going to get into it. The first story is it's weird because the two stories that I'm talking about, my dad had told me about, and it was about his friends. One was named Dan Blank, and the other was named Dan Blank. So there's two Dans. They were both Dans that experienced two different things at two different places, and yet they were all connected in a circle in friendship. It's amazing. It's weird how it worked out. But anyway, what happened was Dan number one was sitting at his house. Okay, he was sitting at his house on his kitchen or on his couch. He was sitting on his couch in his living room. There were some noises going on throughout the house. It was at nighttime, and there was his kids had moved out. They'd moved out. They were old enough, and they were gone. So his wife and him had a divorce. So he was all alone living in this place, and this place was falling apart. It was weird. I mean, the toilet was actually falling through the floor. It should have been condemned. And eventually it was and torn down. But anyway, he heard noises to the left. And that would have been where his son's room was. So he got up and decided to investigate. Well, when he investigated, you're never going to believe what he's seen. He's seen this large, dark shadow figure standing in the corner. And it was a humanoid-looking thing. And it had its back to him. So this being had its back facing towards Dan, okay? So immediately Dan freaked out. Obviously, seeing something like that, you would. He freaked out, and I forget what he asked or shouted or did. It was something like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Something like that. Well, anyway, guys, just like in a horror movie, I'm serious. This thing turns around like really slow, and it had this like old man face, and it was all dressed in black, and it had this like thing around its neck. And it honestly, what Dan describes is that it was Lucifer himself, the devil. He truly believes that that was the devil. And this Dan guy won't talk about the story to anybody, but he finally opened up to my dad and told him this story. So anyway, the thing turns around at him and starts lunging towards him. And what does Dan do? He starts saying, "In the name of Jesus, get out of my house. In the name of Jesus." And it was about to like touch him, but he kept saying that over and over again. And basically it flung him up against a wall as he was about to approach Dan. And the thing looked at him and hissed. I know this sounds crazy, but this is the story that this guy shares. And I'm going to tell you, this is a very honest man. This guy does not lie. He does not make stuff up. He had no reason to lie about the story. And he would get very emotional when telling the story to my dad. And I remember thinking, wow, I was so into it, dude. Like, that story really got me hooked into paranormal. That was a long time ago when that happened. I was just a kid. Well, anyways, this thing flung out of the room and knocked the couch completely over. Was rushing towards the door as Dan kept yelling, "Get out in the name of Jesus." And then it busted the screen door off the hinges. And he said he ran towards it, still screaming what he was screaming. And the devil, what he assumes the devil or a demonic being or whatever it was rushing through a large grass field far away from him, making very, very dark pitched, creepy sounds. Okay? Needless to say, Dan did not sleep that night. So That's story number one that I wanted to tell you guys and girls. Very, very interesting story. Doesn't that make you wonder, like, if that was the devil, think about it. All the billions of people that are on this planet, he decides to go to Dan's house, who is just a regular person, and go in his son's room and then freak Dan out like he did. The one cool thing I like about that story is, though, he was able to use the name of Jesus and get rid of it. So, what about if he was like a non-believer or an atheist? Do you think that thing could have got him, maybe possessed him, killed him? What do you guys and girls think about that story? Just think about it for a minute, that it's true, that it's authentic, and just really try to make sure that you understand that I'm just telling you the story from my personal view of what he told me, or well, what he told my dad and what my dad told me. And neither one of them guys lie about stuff like that. So assume for a moment that it was true. What in God's name do you think happened that night? I mean, you could say that it's fake. That's fine. You can laugh at it, whatever. I don't care. I truly believe that it's real because it came from this guy. Okay? So what I'm asking for you is to assume it's real. What was it? What was it doing? That's it. Was it the devil? Was it a demonic being? What was it? Assuming that it was real, and I believe that it was. But you know what? And wholeheartedly, it might not be real. He could have made up the story and told it to my dad, and that's it. But I don't believe that. I believe that he told what he saw. So that's story number one. Story number two is another Dan, one of my dad's friends. He was building a house, okay, made of stone in the country area of, off Wino Road, or not Wino Road, Campground Road. Yeah, Campground Road. He was out that way. And where he was building this house, there was a shack there, like an old house that he had to like tear down and put his up or whatever. And the people always said that place was haunted, that it was built on a graveyard. Everybody always stayed away from it. My dad told me back in the day when they were young, it was known as the house on Haunted Hill. That's what they called the place. Well, long story short, Dan, my dad's friend, purchased that land and decided to make it his home, and that's exactly what he did. So he tore down the old foundation, and there was a lot of rubble there, and he started, putting stuff up. He was building, and in the basement area, as he was clearing stuff out, like debris, he came across what appeared to be a tombstone. It looked just like a tombstone, so he picked up the tombstone, and this is what's crazy, guys, and this is honest to God truth. It had his name on it, first and last. It had his wife's name on it, first and last, and both of his children's name on it, but first and last. How do you describe that? What is that? I mean, it was like they were meant for that house, or was that like a sign? If you come to this house, you're going to go downhill, something bad's going to happen to you. Well, I'm going to say this without mentioning the family's name. There was a lot of drug use in that house, a lot of negativity in that house, a lot of physical beatings, like I said, tons of drugs, man, divorce, you name it, it was there. Everybody knew the ghost was in the house, and actually the mom said, I don't care if it's here as long as it don't hurt us. Well, when Dan first saw that tombstone, he bolted. He took off. He wasn't going to do it. But ultimately, he returned, and he did do it. He finished building it, and it's up to this day, and that's where he lives by himself. I think he might have a girlfriend now. She might live with him. I'm not sure. But, yeah, guys, that I've actually stayed in that house before, too. And if you look back at the video I have where it's called The Hag, that's the house where the sister of the brother That's where she seen the hag. That's where it came out of the mirror, was in that house. And I remember laying in that house one time after that. And, yeah, very weird feeling in that house. And I walked in, and, well, eventually we went to bed, and we were sleeping in the same bed, me and my friend. And I happened to be on a bedside that was, oh, excuse me, that was closest to the floor. So, and there was this large toy box that he had, like right there, as soon as you walked in. And, I remember hearing something walk in, like something opened his door, walked in and shut it. I closed my eyes. I pretended that I was asleep. And then I heard movement in the toy box. Like something was going through the toys. I kid you not. This is for me, guys. This is honest. I'm being honest with you. And then picked something up. I'm assuming it picked it up because it fell against the floor right by my head. So something had the power to pick up a toy and drop it right beside my head. I was so scared. My eyes stayed closed. I did not want to see it. I think it wanted me to, but I did not look. I did not look. I didn't say anything. Eventually fell asleep, woke up, told oh my God, told my friend the story. And that was that, man. I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. That's 2 short stories for you. It's been a while since I did a video, so I figured I'd do something and put it up for you. But I will be doing more videos here real soon. I think the next video I'm gonna do might be on might be the moon landings. I might do something like that. Is it fake or not, or something alien? I don't know. I'm going to do something. I also got a couple radio shows, some podcasts, previous podcasts, that I'm going to be putting up very soon. Maybe even tonight I'll put those up. So, as always, guys, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that like button. Always comment below. You have no idea how much it helps me out. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, guys, I can start going live, doing live broadcasts, podcasts. I can start going live and you know, touring different places at night and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But I need 1,000 of you to subscribe. It's not hard, guys. Just click it. Help me out. It's free, as always. And my Amityville movie comes out on 2/19/2020, and I might have a little surprise for all of you if you do subscribe, of getting a copy of that DVD. And you can watch the trailer. It's on my channel. So subscribe to my channel if you're interested in maybe getting a copy of that movie. We'll see. I'll let you know later on how to do it, but you have to subscribe. And I would do it soon. All right, guys. Peace.